Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Block Party. And here we are with Kelly, Ray, and Claire and Jamin, and we're talking food healers. And so what we're speculating on now and kind of mapping out is how we can do this with the Tesla truck, because we're getting ready to reach out to Elon Musk at Tesla. And I'll just flash a couple images on while we're doing this. But so the plant-based stews that we're going to be preparing at major, industrial kitchens all the way to full-blown food factories, depending on the volume. I mean, LA is going to be consuming, hundreds of tons of stew per day, could even break into the thousands as it gets popular. This is how we're going to popularize plant-based foods, by delivering it to everyone and making it absolutely delicious. And Kelly, you're going to take charge of recipes and process and video promotions and media and all that. And we're going to deliver it in Tesla trucks with trailers like this. I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but this is partly why we need to work with Tesla directly. And I mean, it could be that like the roof of the trailer retracts and a robotic arm comes out of the back of the Tesla truck or something. But I mean, it's going to be jaw-dropping. We're going to have people following it around town saying, whoa, did you see the new Tesla truck? And what's it doing? It's feeding everyone, right? Let the Tesla truck and Elon take the credit. I don't care who gets the credit. Two objectives: feed everyone and stop killing animals and stop, animal agriculture. Period. Those are the objectives. So with the robot arm will help. We'll plop them onto, a dispensing structure. A volunteer will be there, probably preferably two volunteers, one to really do the physical dispensing, another one to essentially do the crowd control, put the yellow chain link fence around, one person at a time, safe social distancing, no mask, no service, bring your own container, et cetera, right? People will come up, they'll get the food dispensed, and then they'll have their, Trader Joe's like bag, hemp bag, canvas bag, whatever. We'll throw in the bread or whatever the other carbohydrate is, whether it's rice or tortillas or bread or potatoes, depending on, the community and what the preferences are. And we'll probably have different choices. Yes, Claire.
They come up and get one meal for that time? So
no,
they bring a container that's enough for how long?
Enough for half a week. Maybe we'll do deliveries twice a week or something like that. So if it's a family of 8, they'll come with some big pots and we'll dispense. And so, and if it's a neighborhood like in South Central LA where people are hungry and there's high demand, right? We'll probably have dispensing racks that'll hold hundreds of gallons at a single neighborhood park, right? Because families are going to come up and they're going to want, 10, 20 liters at a time. No problem. Bring your pots, we'll fill you up. So what we're essentially doing is we're creating food on tap. Healthy plant-based food on tap. How much do you want? Boom. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about finally making food a basic human right. Yes, Claire.
This whole event has to be filmed and become a documentary.
That's what we're talking about. And you're talking to the right people. Do you know who Ray and Kelly are?
No.
Okay, Claire, meet Ray and Kelly. Ray,
oh my God.
Please tell Claire and the video that we're now recording. Speaking of video recording, tell them who you are.
I wish I deserved as good an introduction as that, but I'm a media professional. I've been working in television for 20 years and pivoted to activism. And Kelly is a caterer.
Wow.
Under the name The Veganabler on Facebook.
Wow, that's exciting. Oh my gosh. So do you make documentaries?
I don't currently, but we're always promoting documentaries. I have made documentaries in the past. They tended to be like fundraiser documentaries for a church organization and for different projects in around the world. But
don't you think this should become a documentary?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, so many people have been motivated by documentaries. I've changed my life after watching Cowspiracy, which Dr. Rao's one of the executive producers of that documentary, and What the Health, which is also on Netflix. His first one was The Human Experiment, which is about the exposure of chemicals in our atmosphere and
Mm.
the health effects that have derived from that, across the human race, because
Mm.
there's no restrictions on chemicals.
Pesticides, right?
Are you familiar with these?
Not those films, no, but of the subject for sure. But
Is-
I think that all of this could be combined with a whole documentary series on this whole subject.
Mhm.
Chemicals, pesticides, water pollution, whatever.
It all goes together. What we're
It does.
essentially doing is we're reinventing food, and
Mhm.
we're redefining who gets to eat. Right now, in today's world, if you got money, you get to eat. No money, no food, no food for you. And also, what do we eat? Right now, we're eating hacked up dead animal parts and milk products stolen from lactating mothers who want to feed their babies. So what do the babies drink? They don't drink nothing. They get to get executed too. No life for you, but delicious veal.
Oh, the baby girl calves get powdered milk, something like that, a bottle. They get fed bottles.
Yeah, until they're big enough to get slaughtered for veal.
No,
Oh, no, I see what
only
you're
the
saying.
boys
Only the
are
boys. Okay,
slaughtered.
that's right. Only the boys get slaughtered. So it's only
Girls
half
have
as
to
bad.
turn into dairy cows.
It's only half as bad. Ray, they're not slaughtering boys and girls. They're only slaughtering boys. So
Right.
it's only
But
half
sure,
the
the girls
emergency.
have it better off, because then they end up being the dairy cows that have their children stolen from them.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh
And they get
my
to be
God.
repeatedly forced impregnated. We call that rape in human societies, and et cetera, et cetera. So this becomes the event that redefines food. And why not pair it with the vehicle that redefines cars, the Tesla truck?
Yeah. Wow. I love
Right.
it.
Yeah. So and we're going to end COVID. We're going to transform public health. The best way to the whole most of the reason that the population is unhealthy is because of the crap they're eating. Right. And there's people chronically malnourished, starving to death in parts of Africa. We're going to wipe all this out. This is going to be probably the single biggest human revolution on Earth, and it's going to start the dominoes tumbling across two dimensions fundamentally. One dimension is human needs. We're going to turn basic human needs into basic human rights. Period. Full stop. We start with food. We then go for housing. Then we go for healthcare. Then we go for transportation. Then we go for access to recreation and libraries and computers and all that. Access to open space, et cetera, counseling, whatever, boom, 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 boom. Because the big one is food.
And we don't have to wait for elected officials to make policies.
No. See, here's the thing. Government has become the laughing stock. So we're going to do this ourselves. And in a sense, because we're the ones who are delivering the basic goods and services for humanity, we essentially, don't tell the NSA I said this, but we essentially become de facto a new form of governance, not government.
Yeah, I love it.
Governance. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You want public health? We got public health. We're redefining public health, completely redefining it, because we're doing something totally revolutionary, which is to feed everyone. Now, listen, when all the billionaires and millionaires and everyday people, right, see what we're doing and that we're feeding, and they're going to say, gee, well, who's funding this? We are, donations, et cetera. Well, where can I donate? Now,
So you better get something ready for somebody to be able to donate to.
hey, we've got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do on creating the appropriate nonprofit with the appropriate standards, the appropriate checks and balances. We're going to do something with integrity, right? No Donald Trumps allowed, no Confederate flags allowed. Total integrity, top to bottom. And it's going to be mostly volunteer driven. I'm sure we'll have some paid staff. Okay, fine. But everything done with absolute integrity, right? And so how we're going to fund it here. This is a true story. There was a gal in San Francisco working in an office, and one day it occurred to her she just said, I'm going to bring some donuts for everyone. So she brought this big box of donuts, and then she said, oh, what the heck, I'll put a little jar there. If you want to contribute to the donut fund, here's a jar. At the end of the day, Friday afternoon, everyone's all happy. They're going home. She goes to pick up clean up the box of donuts, recycle it. And she takes the money jar and she counts up the money in the money jar. And lo and behold, the amount of money that people had donated throughout the day exceeded the cost of the donuts. Okay. That got her thinking. Long story short, she went to offices all up and down Market Street, downtown San Francisco, and said, can I do this? And they said, yeah, sure. Yeah, drop off the, she's friendly, whatever. And so she turns it into a business. This is the economics of generosity meeting the economics of efficiency, right? Because she didn't have anyone sitting there with a cash register and a credit card swiper and all the costs associated with doing things capitalist style. It was just based on generosity. Her generosity was met with their generosity. Their generosity in dollar terms exceeded her generosity. We were just talking about the cost of lentils. You buy a 1 pound bag of lentils and cook it up. It cooks up this giant pot, right? Feeds the whole family. Those same dried lentils, if you buy them from the farm in bulk, and we're going to do everything in bulk here, 40-ton truck of dried lentils works out to 6.5 cents a pound.
Yeah.
It's essentially free. What we've got here is not so much a financial problem, but a logistics problem, right? I was actually manager of logistics development for Cemex, the most profitable cement company in the world. When I was in my late 20s, I was the youngest executive in the whole company, and I optimized the whole place. Production, distribution, everything. Rail, steamship, truck, you name it, all optimized. So we got logistics in the house, right? We got catering in the house. We got vegan recipes in the house. And soon we're going to have the Tesla trucks in the house. Basically, we've got all the ingredients we need to make this go crazy. And I want to start in a market like LA, the media capital of the world. Everyone will be talking about it. Donations are going to come pouring in, right? And everyone's going to be tripping over each other to fund it, to be the ones writing the $1 million checks to fund this. And we're going to just feed everyone in LA. And everyone gets to stay at home during pandemics. We'll bring you the food. Stay at home, we'll bring you the food. And that'll start the dominoes tumbling of basic human needs become basic human rights. But then we're going to get the dominoes tumbling in another direction simultaneously, which is the following. Right now, humanity is locked in this all-day monopoly game called individual hoarding for individual survival. And once you've hoarded enough to survive, you then continue hoarding, not for individual survival now, but for individual aggrandizement of the ego, right? We're going to finally liberate humanity from this all-day monopoly game of hoarding for survival, where we're going to say, listen, you don't have to hoard for survival anymore. Here's the food. Here's the food, followed by here's the shelter, followed by here's the healthcare, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, of course, a lot of people are still going to be playing the shell game of, trying to hoard more, but they won't need to. This is the key difference here. And because everyone is so locked in this game of hoarding for survival, no matter how wealthy or how poor you are, it's the same game. I worked for Bill Gates. I was corporate strategy manager at Microsoft, and homeboy has no peace. It's because he's addicted not just to his stash, but to seeing it grow. He's addicted to more. Okay, these are all spillovers from the game of hoarding for survival, because the cost of losing at the game of monopoly is death by starvation. Okay, so we raise the floor, we take away the penalty for losing the game, and we're going to wake up to a whole new world where everyone gets to eat and humanity is taking care of each other rather than just competing with each other and watching the poorest of the poor starve to death. Once we achieve that, guess what? We liberate the minds and hearts of humanity to start to focus on things other than their own personal hoarding. So if I don't have to hoard anymore, what's life about? Well, why don't we turn our attention to Mother Earth, right? Humanity, having put on its own oxygen mask, will finally be able to turn to the passenger sitting next to them. Mom, oh my God, right? I've neglected you for so long because I was gasping for air myself, right?
And that's the road to a gift economy, rather.
That's it. That's it.
Mm.
So with this, we start the dominoes tumbling across multiple dimensions to take care of humanity and take care of Mother Earth. But as long as we're brain damaged and just twisted and forced into this snake pit, brutal all-day monopoly game of hoarding for survival, it's hard to focus on anything else. That's reality. We're going to change the game. We're going to change what it means to be human. We're going to change what it means to be a part of a community. And we're going to change our relationship to each other and to Mother Earth.
Is what you just said now on you? Will it be on YouTube?
Yes, it will. We're recording it now. We're going to put it up on YouTube.
Perfect. I can see it as a TED Talk. I keep wanting it to go viral.
Well, let's make it go viral. We got to push this. But listen, here's the cool thing. Once we get Elon on board, right, with the first killer application, it's the opposite of killer. It's the
And
life.
Charles Eisenstein to publicize it.
Oh, absolutely. No, this is going to go crazy. This is finally, because Eisenstein's vegan, right? The vegans are going to come out of the woodwork in support of this. They're going to volunteer to distribute the food, right? We're going to finally give the vegan community something to do other than trade recipes and say, shame on you to the rest of us, right? Really?
And LA is great because it's so vegan friendly there.
Oh.
I mean, all of California, right? You know, so.
And you've got vegan millionaires and billionaires
Exactly.
up in LA. So the billionaires will write the checks.
And athletes too. There's a lot of vegan athletes.
Oh, heck yeah. So we're it's just going to be this vegan metropolis utopia. And then every other city is going to see the benefits to feeding everyone and distributing the foods directly to the neighborhoods to stop pandemics, stop crime, and stop all the evils of metropolis society, capitalist metropolis society. And then every city on the planet, no matter what continent, is going to say, we want that too. We want that too. How do we do it? Right now, the reality is a lot of them are going to use diesel trucks. I'm not so, don't tell anyone, but don't tell Elon I said this, but I'm not so concerned about what vehicles they use beyond the launch, but we need the Tesla truck, at least for the launch. Now, if Tesla can then prioritize deliveries of its super high in demand Tesla trucks, if they can prioritize the food healers applications, it'll be good for them and good for the world, right? And let there be a 2-year waiting list for the rich people who want the trucks. Yeah. Let them wait. But first, we're going to feed everyone. And then Elon he becomes, the richest person in the world who's also feeding the world. What more do you want? He'll be able to sleep a lot easier at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a short list of directors to recommend for the documentary. We mentioned the athletes. Has everybody seen The Game Changers?
No.
It's on Netflix now. It's directed by Luis Hoyos, whom we met recently and we're talking with in a group discussion about his documentary and future projects. He also directed The Cove and Racing Extinction. And Racing Extinction has Elon Musk in it. And he lends Louis a Tesla from his factory. And they put a giant projector in the back of it, which mechanically comes out of the back of the Tesla car and projects scenes from movies or scenes of animals that are going extinct on the sides of buildings, including the Empire State Building and the Guggenheim Museum and a bunch of places around New York City.
Oh, looks like Claire dropped off, but I'm sure she'll be back.
So Luis Hoyos is somebody that Sailesh is at least in contact with, and the executive producer is James Cameron. So there's a connection there. That's my list, Louis
and that's our in with Elon too, right? Because he has already lent a Tesla to our contacts.
Here's what's going to happen. We're essentially encircling Elon, and he's going to have nowhere out but to say yes to the best promotion he could possibly ask for the Tesla truck, and hence for the Tesla company generally. I mean, who does he want driving the Tesla truck? A bunch of billionaires, right? A bunch of conceited billionaires? No.
He got Leilani Munter, a vegan NASCAR driver, to drive the Tesla in the documentary. So
That's
she's retired now, so she'll be available to drive.
she's the one to reach out to. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
she said she's made her own personal project to try to turn Elon vegan. So
No, this is all the stars are aligning right now. We got to do this, and we just happen to have all the urgency we need times about 100. And the reason I say that, it's not so much because of the pandemic. That creates urgency times 5. And the animal torture, that creates urgency times 20, and the decimation of the Amazon, that makes it urgency times 100. But exponential climate change turns it into urgency times like 500, because we're out of time. We're flat out of time. And the thing about the climate change, the piece of the climate change, much more about, here's Claire coming back. The piece about the climate change is much more about changing the mindset of humanity from being addicted to hoarding to suddenly being liberated from hoarding. Right now, is it gonna completely, transform capitalism? No. You're still gonna have greed and all that. I get it. But you've raised the floor and you've eliminated the death penalty from losing at the Monopoly game. Right now, we have death penalty for losing at Monopoly. Right? We take away the death penalty. Right? I mean, this is going to be the single biggest revolution in the history of humanity, period. Feeding everyone and eliminating animal agriculture. This is going to be the death blow to animal agriculture, because we've already got the medical experts lined up, led by Dr. Priya Naik and her whole team, which is very black and brown heavy, right? African-American nutritional specialists and everything, all of them MDs. So we're going to have just a whole lineup of MD experts. And did y'all see him? Have y'all seen? I know, Claire, you've seen it. Ray and Kelly, have you seen the press conference I did with President Vicente Fox?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.